أجواء إيجابية إن شاء الله.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Lina Tamim, and these are today's headlines. A series of airstrikes killed 3 Syrian soldiers in the country's east. The Syrian government accuses the U.S.-led coalition of responsibility for the attack. Free Patriotic Bloc leader MP Michel Aoun issues a statement saying none of today's appointments have been cancelled and that Marada movement leader Sleiman Frangieh will not be visiting Rabia today. And Health Minister Wael Abu Faour says the Lebanese state is exerting efforts to press for the release of 9 soldiers still being held by extremists. A series of airstrikes have killed 3 Syrian soldiers in the country's east, Syria's government said, accusing the U.S.-led coalition of responsibility for the attack. The U.S. military, however, denied any involvement. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says airstrikes hit the Saika military camp near the town of Ayash in Deir ez-Zor province, killing 4 soldiers. It was also impossible to confirm which of the many air forces operating in the country was responsible for the attack. The area is largely under the control of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, and the U.S.-led coalition has regularly targeted the group in the eastern province. Russian jets have shelled the positions of gunmen on the eastern mountain range. The national news agency says the sound of explosions could be heard in the border area with Syria, on the outskirts of the northeastern border region of Arsal. The area has been infiltrated by gunmen linked to the Syrian conflict. And now for some news in Lebanon. Free Patriotic Bloc leader MP Michel Aoun's press office has issued a statement making clear that none of today's appointments have been cancelled and that Marada movement leader MP Sleiman Frangieh will not be visiting Rabia today. Health Minister Wael Abu Faour says the Lebanese state is exerting efforts to press for the release of 9 soldiers still being held by extremists on the outskirts of the country's northeastern border. Abu Faour was addressing a delegation of relatives of the captive servicemen, saying the government was looking for local and regional channels that could help, emphasizing that the Lebanese crisis cell managing the hostages issue will lay out a possible roadmap on ways to deal with the case. 16 policemen and soldiers were freed by the Al-Qaeda affiliate Nusra Front last week in a prisoner swap deal with the Lebanese government, which witnessed the release of a batch of Islamist inmates, including women. And still to come in our program, Venezuela's opposition wins control of the state legislature. More details after the break. Welcome back. You're watching the English newscast. A man charged with attempted murder following a knife attack in East London over the weekend appeared in London's Westminster Magistrates Court. A police van believed to be carrying 29-year-old Mohyeddin Mir arrived at the court's garage, where photographers tried to get pictures of him inside. One man, 56, suffered serious but not life-threatening injuries in the Saturday attack at Leytonstone Underground Station, about 6 miles east of central London, while a second person suffered minor injuries. Eyewitnesses said the attacker had reportedly shouted out, "This is for Syria." Britain is on its second highest security alert level of severe, meaning a militant attack is considered highly likely, though not imminent, mainly because of the threat posed by the Islamic State militants in Syria and Iraq. Venezuela's opposition has won control of the state legislature in a blow to the oil-rich country's socialist government that has held the Congress for 16 years. The broad, mostly center-right MUD coalition won a majority of 99 out of 167 seats in the state legislature. Socialist President Nicolas Maduro promptly appeared on television saying he accepted the defeat, a blow to his leadership during a dire economic crisis. Fireworks erupted over the capital Caracas as opposition supporters celebrated. Hitting the streets of Beijing with a huge mobile vacuum cleaner, a performance artist who identifies himself as Nut Brother has been hoovering up the city's polluted air, turning the dust captured from the sky into a brick. in a bid to raise awareness about the state of China's air and start a conversation about its deeper causes. China launched a war on pollution last year following a spate of smog outbreaks in Beijing and surrounding regions. China has vowed to slash coal consumption and close down polluting industrial capacity, but environmental officials admit that the country is unlikely to meet state air quality standards until at least 2030. For the 34-year-old artist, whose real name is Wang Renzheng, the blame for the problem afflicting the country's environment cannot be laid at the doors of power plants and factories alone. He sees it as a problem caused by society's fixation with material things. Nut Brother felt the mass consumerism fostered by years of growth has left Chinese society hollow and opened a gulf between man and nature. He said that is what prompted him to spend 100 days sucking up dust and pollutants, collecting 100 grams of the city's airborne pollution inside his vacuum cleaner. Japan's top official says Japan has done nothing wrong by deploying its whaling fleet for the annual Antarctic hunt, and the world must agree to disagree on the issue. The International Court for Justice said last year that Japan's whaling in the Southern Ocean should stop, and an International Whaling Committee panel said in April that Tokyo had yet to demonstrate a need for killing whales. Tokyo had taken a one-year hiatus from Antarctic whaling, but Japan recently announced it will resume the hunt, although it cut the number of minke whales it usually takes by 2/3 to 333 giant sea mammals. We did our best to try to meet the criteria established by the International Court of Justice, and we have decided to implement our research plan because we are confident that we completed the scientific homework, Joji Morishita, Japan's IWC commissioner, told a news conference. Morishita said the emotive issue may be one of the many irreconcilable differences that the international community just has to live with, but dozens of countries appear unwilling to just let go of the issue. Australia's foreign and environmental ministers, in fact, said in a statement that the country was considering legal action along with 32 other nations to oppose a Japanese whaling expedition that left last week. And still about whales, the sight of thousands of whales surfacing, jumping and playing off the coast of South America as they migrate towards their breeding ground is one of nature's most majestic displays. But climate change threatens the whales' migratory routes. More details in this report.
It's a unique spectacle. Every year between April and December, around 4,000 southern right whales swim all the way from the Antarctic to the warmer waters of the Peninsula Valdez in southern Argentina. They come to reproduce, give birth and nurse their calves before swimming back to the Antarctic to feed themselves with krill. And that krill, a small shrimp that lives under the Antarctic ice, is what's made the whales vulnerable to climate change.
In the years in which the sea temperature is a little bit higher than normal, the abundance of krill goes down. Krill is one of the whale's main sources of food. So the year after the years in which there's less krill, we register a lower number of calves. And it's also possible that it affects the survival of the newborns. So it's all linked. What happens in the Antarctic with the production of krill affects the whales that we see here in the Valdez Peninsula, thousands of kilometers away.
In recent years, the Whales Conservation Institute has observed an unprecedented number of deaths in the Peninsula Valdez. The majority were calves of less than 3 months old. But the whales breeding populations in Argentina, South Africa and Australia are still increasing by 5 to 7% every year. That's because their main cause of death, whaling, became illegal in 1935 when they went nearly extinct. But the whales are still not out of danger. They are now hunted by a new predator, seagulls.
The kelp gulls learn to feed themselves with the live whale skin and fat. That creates a lot of stress for the whales and changes their behaviour because it forces them to move quicker and it interrupts their nursing and resting periods.
And seagulls' attacks are not the only danger facing the whales today. Scientists have observed various other threats caused by human activity.
Now you've got toxicology, you've got ship strikes, you've got acoustic bleaching, you've got entanglement in nets. Whales on one level face more threats now than ever before, but now we have the technology. We're living uphill from the oceans, and if everybody take small actions with regards to their daily behavior, it has an effect on the ocean habitat. And the ocean habitat is important for us as it is for the whales.
Scientists hope that working with the tourism industry will help protect the whales. Tourists are taught about the mammals and their habitat and can also choose to adopt a whale by giving money that will help fund conservation programs.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. A series of airstrikes killed 3 Syrian soldiers in the country's east. The Syrian government accuses the U.S.-led coalition of responsibility for the attack. Free Patriotic Bloc leader MP Michel Aoun issues a statement saying none of today's appointments have been cancelled and that Marada movement leader MP Sleiman Frangieh will not be visiting Rabia today. And Health Minister Wael Abou Fahour says the Lebanese state is exerting every effort to press for the release of 9 soldiers still being held by extremists. Those are your top stories for today. I'm Linda Tamim, and I thank you all for watching.
الأجواء إيجابية إن شاء الله.